Good afternoon to all. Let me talk about today's topic, our environment. Today we are going to discuss about two topics: natural resources, second one biodiversity. Last class we discussed about primary needs of a human being and other organisms. There are three primary needs: air, water and food. Last class we discussed about different types of food and food habits of different animals. Along with food, air, water, soil and forest are also part of our environment. So they are precious environmental resources. So water is a precious natural resource in our environment. Without water we can't live. So water is a universal solvent. Universal solvent. What is meant by solvent? Solvent means a medium dissolving of some other solid particle like water dissolve sugar as well as salt crystals. So water is a main important natural source. It maintains the alive condition. Alive condition. Last class I told that alive means dynamic or the organism or person able to do something. So the organism able to do something with help of only water. So the water maintain the alive condition in plants as well as animals. See children, so water is a very important component in the environment. You can see this water in our day-to-day life. Water is important source. People have used water in different ways, which includes, you can see here, which includes drinking, cooking purpose, washing vessels, bathing and mopping. Mopping means clearance of surface or clearance of dust particle from the any surface. So this is the use of water in our daily life. In addition to that, water also used in agricultural sector. So agricultural sector means the plant life, the growth and development of the plant life depends on only water. So the water maintains the life condition of plant as well as animal. Just now I told that. So water also help to the maintain the body condition of plants. See here in the picture, human body about 72% of water. The body made up of 72% of water. Remaining 28% components are chemical components. What are chemicals? Very simple: inorganic and organic compounds. Inorganic and organic compounds. So water play important role in day-to-day life and irrigation in all organisms, not only human being. The body made up of 72% of water, remaining 28% is inorganic and organic compounds. You can see here percentage of water on earth. So 97% of the water we can see are in only oceans. Ocean, seas, saline groundwater about 97% is, fresh water 2.5 to 2.75% is, frozen glaciers, ice and snow 1.75 to 2% is, fresh groundwater 0.7 to 0.8% is, surface water, lakes, swamps and rivers just less than 0.01% is. So here 97% huge amount present in ocean. This is completely salt water. It is unfit to the daily agriculture, industrial and domestic usages. And 2.5 to 2.75 in fresh water, 1.75 to 2% frozen glaciers, ice and snow, fresh groundwater 0.7 to 0.8% is, surface water, lakes, swamps and river just less than 0.01% is. You can see here conservation of water, it means saving of water. We are in globalization, in the name of industrialization, we are using water, natural source at large quantities. Water used as a medium, it has a coolant agent in most of the industries. So water is most precious natural resource. So you should save the water. See children, here this is turn off the tap while brushing teeth. Take a shorter bath. Turn off tap while applying soap. Turn off tap after each use, and don't flush tissue paper or waste into toilet. So these are the some of the ways to save the water in houses. You can see here, just now I told that water is an important component for irrigation. See here, there are so many irrigation facilities. Here this is, you can see here this picture represent the sprinkle irrigation. The sprinkle irrigation used in a agriculture sector where the water is under scarcity. So sprinkle is a device. It irrigates the water to the landscape, gardens as well as some agricultural crops. So sprinkles are one of the device used in part of conservation of water. You can see the picture. So it is represent the drip irrigation. What is drip irrigation? What is mean by drip irrigation? It also called micro irrigation. Micro irrigation. The drip irrigation first started in Israel to conserve the water resources. In our country, the drip irrigation now introduced in agriculture sector to promote the usage of drip irrigation and to encourage the farmers to conserve the water. The government of India offered subsidy to the drip irrigation. 35% of money offered under subsidy under scheme PMKSY. It means Pradhana Mantri Krishi Sanchay Yojana. So 35% of subsidy means up to 1 lakh, maximum 1 lakh of money. So offered the government to encourage the drip irrigation for poor farmers. So what is drip irrigation? Drip irrigation means very simple. With help of pipes, direct allowed to the water at root of the plant body. In this mechanism, we can prevent the soil erosion. What is mean by soil erosion? With help of rainfall, sometimes floods, the forcible movement of the water sometimes migrate the soil particle from one place to the another place. So instead of the traditional irrigation process, now we are using drip irrigation. The drip means drop by drop the water added to the direct root system. So here we can preserve the water and reduce the power consumption, and also very important, prevent the migration of nutrients from one place to the another place. So drip irrigation is a effective method in agriculture to conserve the water effectively. So this picture indicates conservation of water in daily life. This is two methods. One is a sprinkler method, second one is a drip irrigation to conserve the water. Along with two, there are so many methods like percolation pits, check dams, also we can apply to conservation of water. Every year we celebrated World Water Day on 22nd March. 2020, the theme of World Water Day is climate and change. Water and climate change is the theme of World Water Day, 22nd March 2020. You can see here water pollution. Children, we are in the globalization, using of natural resource water for medium coolant agent in the industries. In addition to that, most of the water resources polluted with toxic compounds which are released by industries, factories, thermal power stations. So the water used by industries, domestic waste, domestic water, water in hospitals, collectively called sewage water. What we call sewage water. It is unfit for further industrial uses and domestic purpose. Every day, an average family with 4 members wastes the water about 125 liters. 125 liters of water wasted by an average family in India. So water is a precious resource. You should preserve the water. So water pollution by industrial waste and domestic wastages. You can see here next image, Ganga river. In the first picture you can see this. The river completely polluted with plastics and other garbages. Here you can see this picture. After lockdown, this is the picture. So after lockdown, the pollution of the water decreases. So to increase the water purity of Ganga river, the government of India year 1986 January 14 introduced a great program, Ganga Action Plan. In the budget 2019 and 2020, the government of India allocated 750 crores for purification of water. So see children, large amount of money only we can use it in the purification of water. So that is also very bad situation. So you can preserve the water, you should not pollute the water in any way. So this is the situation before lockdown, this situation after lockdown. See here, once sewage water formed in the system, how to purify the water? Very simple method. There is a method, what is that? Bioremediation. What we call bioremediation, also called phytoremediation, which means purification of water with help of microbes. With help of microbes means bacteria and fungi. Bacteria and fungi. So by using of microorganism, purification of water by process bioremediation. What we call bio means an organism, or also called phyto. Remediation means purification of resource. So this is a outlook of water management program. This is a STP. STP means sewage treatment plant. Purification of water here involves 3 methods. Number 1, physical treatment. Physical treatment means water allowed to the plant with help of grid chambers. Grid chamber means the chamber separate the free floating objects or plastic covers from the water. This is called as filtration. Then water allowed to the second tank. Here sediment, by process of sedimentation, removal of dissolved organic matter. This is called sludge. What we call sludge. The remaining water allowed to the second tank, this is called aeration tank. This is the actual place of purification of water with help of microbes. How can you measure the purified and unpurified water? Very simple, with help of BOD. BOD also called COD. BOD means biological oxygen demand or chemical oxygen demand. So how much of oxygen present in the aeration tank which support the growth of microorganism as well as purification of water is called BOD. So BOD means amount of oxygen which present in the aeration tank, are also called COD. So we can measure the purity of water with help of BOD value. If the BOD value is high, the water is impure water. If the BOD value is very low, definitely the total amount of water utilized by microbes, it indicates what? The water purified. So high BOD value indicates impure water, low BOD value indicates pure water. Then again water allowed to the next tank. Here the chemical treatment. Chemical treatment means improve the quality of water, adding of chlorine, and the water subjected to the UV rays, improve the quality of water. So the sewage water allowed to the STP plant, purification of water by involving 3 methods. Number 1, physical treatment. Number 1, purification of water with help of microorganism, and next one, chemical treatment. Then after, water allowed to the domestic purposes, industrial purpose and agricultural purpose. So This is a plant indicates the purification of water. Purification of water with alpha microorganisms called bioremediation. So now we are discussing about water percentage, how much of water present in the body, how the water polluted in environment, and how to conserve the water in houses, irrigation, and purification of water by involving of microorganism. The most important process is called phytoremediation, also called bioremediation. See children, next one. So another most important natural resource in our environment is soil. Soil is a outermost or uppermost layer of the earth crust. It supports the life of all organisms, including microscopic organisms to the macroscopic organisms. So the usage of soil is a old practice. During Harappan civilization, the people were used the soil for designing of pots and utensils, sometimes idols. Unfortunately, today we are using POP, plaster of Paris. So this it can cause severe damage on environment. So try to avoid the POP. Instead of that, you have to use soil idols. So soil is a uppermost layer of the crust which support the growth of microorganisms as well as plants and animals. You can see here, this is a picture. This is the soil. So usually the soil divide into generally 4 types. You can see here red soil. Red soil, the color because of presence of more amount of iron. The red soil good for crops like wheat, potato and groundnut and fruit producing plants. Second one, black soil. It contains very important calcium, magnesium and potassium. These are the main important inorganic elements which present in the black soil. So the water holding capacity is high in compared to that soil. So the black soil good for crops like cotton, mirchi, tobacco and sugarcane. Next here, alluvial soil. It is composed by clay, silt and large amount of sand particles. It is suitable for jute, maize and barley cultivation. Once again, jute, barley and maize cultivation. So this is a laterite soil containing iron compound. It is compared to the red soil, black and alluvial. It is less fertile soil. It sometimes support growing of tea, coffee and rubber plants. So based on the properties and their characteristics, the soil divided into 4 types: red soil, black soil, alluvial soil and laterite soil. You can see here soil profile and soil properties. Very simple. The soil profile is a very important for plant growth. See children, this is soil profile. The vertical division of the soil into horizontal zones. The first zone is called O horizon. It is a top layer, not top soil, top layer having litter and humus. What is mean by litter and humus? Very simple. This is for example a plant body. Falling off leaves or tender stems or flowers or maybe fruits. These are the detached part of the plant body. So with alpha microorganism, the parts of the plant body undergoes decomposition. Before decomposition, the freshly added plant material into the soil is called litter. The decomposed material of the plant is called humus. Freshly added material is called litter. The decomposed material is called humus. So the O horizon, we can see here leaf, litter and humus. You can see the second layer here. Here we can see the humus and minerals. Once again, humus and minerals. E horizon, it is also called leaching layer. It consists of silt and clay. Next zone, B origin, it is also called subsoil. It consists of clay and inorganic minerals. C origin, it is a zone of partially broken bedrock. The last one is called bedrock. So the soil profile represents the how many layers present in the uppermost layer of the earth crust. It is very, very important for plant growth. Next one, soil properties. Soil properties are very, very important for plant growth. You can see here, soil properties divide into three categories. Number 1, physical properties. Number 2, chemical properties, and biological properties. How many? 3. Physical properties, chemical properties, and biological properties. What is mean by physical? Physical means air, water, minerals, and organic compounds. So air, water, minerals, organic compound collectively decide the physical properties of soil. What are the physical properties? Number 1, soil structure. Second one, porosity, and soil color. The three properties of soil decided by air, water, minerals, organic compound which present in the soil. Collectively, these three properties facilitate the absorption of water as well as nutrient to the plant. So here, based on the organic matter, soil is two types. Number 1, organic soil. Second one, inorganic soil. Organic soil means the amount of organic compound more than 30%. Below 30%, the soil considered as a inorganic soil. Next one, chemical properties. Chemical properties represents pH. What is mean by pH? pH means potential of hydrogen ions. So based on the pH, soil two type, acidic soil and alkaline soil. This is for example pH scale. From 0 to the 7 is called acidic. From 7 above is called alkaline or base. So the soil, the acidic and alkaline properties of the soil also affect the plant growth in the form of absorption of minerals and charged particles from the soil. So the ideal pH range is 5.5 to 7 is ideal pH for absorption of water as well as minerals effectively. So below the 5, the acidic properties, above the 7, basic or alkaline properties does not support the plant growth. So the pH always range between 5.7 to the 7. This is a chemical property. Next one, biological property. It means soil is a abode. Abode means home of different type of organism like rhizobium, microscopic rhizobium to the earthworm. So total amount of microscopic and biological organism present in the soil called biological property. So collectively these organisms improve the soil fertility by decomposing of dead organic matter or detached part of the plant body. So collectively, physically, chemically and biological properties maintain the soil health. See children, so physical properties, chemical properties, biological properties together maintain the soil health. So this represents layers of the soil. This represents physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil. So the biological property, chemical property, physical together maintain the soil health. You can see the next, soil fertility. So here the soil fertility is very important for plant growth. India depends on agriculture sector for daily needs. Here soil fertility. So increasing of nutrient level in the soil is called soil fertility. You can see here soil fertility, number 1, biofertilizers, crop rotation, vermicompost, panchgavya and mixed cropping. What is biofertilizer? Very simple. Biofertilizer. Biofertilizer means the biological organism direct as a fertilizer. Very simple. You can see here rhizobium bacteria, nostoc, it is also called blue-green algae, and Anabaena, what we call Anabaena, BGA, blue-green algae. These are used as biofertilizer. So these organisms able to fix nitrogen in the form of ammonia, increase the nitrogen percentage in the soil and increase the soil fertility. So instead of chemical fertilizer, you have to use a biofertilizer to conserve the soil. Next one, crop rotation. Crop rotation. What is mean by crop rotation? Crop rotation. Very simple method. You can see here crop rotation means changing of crop in a series manner. For example, in agriculture land, first year cultivation of groundnut, followed by not groundnut, followed by paddy. Then again paddy followed by groundnut. The cyclic cultivation of two different plants in the same land, same agriculture field is called crop rotation. The crop rotation helps to increase the soil fertility. Vermicompost. Vermicompost is a most important organic manure. By using earthworms, the raw material like domestic wastages, peel out from the vegetables, potato, some other agronomic wastages used in the preparation of organic manure with help of organism earthworm. Unfortunately, due to pollution, by using of fertilizers and pesticides, the earthworm population was declined. Next, you can see here Panchgavya. Panchgavya means very simple. By using cow milk and cow curd. Next one, cow ghee. Fourth one, cow urine. Fifth one, cow dung. So by using 5 material, milk, curd, ghee, urine and dung, the mixture of these 5 called Panchgavya. Along with banana paste and sugarcane juice. Next one, coconut water and toddy liquid kallu. So these, along with these 5 compounds from the cow, by addition of ingredients banana paste, sugarcane juice, coconut water and toddy liquid kallu used in the preparation of Panchgavya. Next one, mixed cropping. Mixed cropping is very simple. In this process, in the same agriculture field, cultivation of 2 crops at a time. What is the difference between crop rotation and mixed crop? In crop rotation, series of or cyclic growing of plant by another plant. 1 year paddy, another year groundnut, or 1 year tobacco, another year mirchi, like that. But mixed cropping, in the same year on same agriculture land, using of 2 crops at a time. This is called mixed cropping. The mixed cropping also increasing of soil fertility. Very simple. Groundnut mixed crop in sunflower. Groundnut mixed crop in red gram. So by 5 methods, biofertilizers, crop rotation, vermicompost, Panchgavya, mixed cropping, or you increasing of soil fertility. So instead of chemical fertilizers like urea, DAP, etc., they overusing of those chemical compounds over 25 years or 30 years, the soil fertility decreases. So instead of that, you have to use biofertilizer, you have to another method, crop rotation, vermicompost, Panchgavya, mixed cropping to increase the soil fertility, maintain the soil fertility forever. Next one, soil pollution. Just now I told that we are in the globalization, in the name of urbanization, industrialization, by using fertilizers and pesticides like BHC. What is mean by BHC? It is a pesticide. It means benzene hexachloride. And another one, DDT. What is mean by DDT? Very simple. Dichloromethanes. diphenyl, diphenyl, trichloroethane. So these are the pesticides. You can see here pesticides here: BHC, benzyl hexachloride, endrin, endosulfan, and DDT. DDT means diphenyl trichloroethane. So which are pesticides? So collectively cause the soil pollution. Urbanization first reason, industrialization second one, chemical fertilizers, pesticides like BHC, endrin, endosulfan, and DDT. So together cause soil pollution. One of the main impact of soil pollution on the biodiversity or biological organism is biomagnification. It is a very dangerous situation. Biomagnification means accumulation of what we call accumulation of pesticides like DDT in our body. DDT, diphenyl trichloroethane. So in the purpose of eradication of insects and pests, we are using pesticides like DDT. So by using of DDT, the DDT ingredients remains on leaf, sometimes tissue also. By eating of this at first tropical level, last class we discussed that the first tropical level, producers, second tropical level, herbivores, carnivores, and top carnivores, like that. So the grass plant affected by DDT. By eating of grass, the DDT material accumulated to the next tropic level insect, grasshopper. By eating of grasshopper, the same DDT enters into the tissue of frog. By eating of frog, the DDT enters into the final tropic level eagle. So the increasing of DDT level from tropic level 1 to the tropic level 4. At tropical level 1 just 0.04 ppm. ppm means parts per million. Just 0.04 here. Here 0.23, 0.07, here 13.8. So what did you understand here? From one tropic level to the another tropic level, the accumulation of the pesticide increases. So increasing of pesticide from one tropical level to the another tropical level is called bioaccumulation or biomagnification, leads to several diseases, sometimes cancer and birth defects also. So due to DDT, the population of insect, frog, and top carnivores, eagle also decreases. So you have to reduce the usage of DDT in agriculture sector. Instead of DDT, you have to use natural pesticides like neem, chrysanthemum. Once again, neem, chrysanthemum, tobacco work as a natural pesticide. So by usage of soil is one aspect. Along with that, you have to protect the soil from urbanization, industrialization, fertilizers, and pesticides like BHC, endrin, endosulfan. The most important one is DDT, diphenyl trichloroethane. So accumulation of pesticide from one tropic level to the another tropic level is called biomagnification. So next you can see soil conservation. What is mean by soil conservation? Soil conservation means prevent the soil erosion. Soil erosion means, for example, this is the soil earth crust. Migration of fertile soil particle from one place to the another place with help of a flood or high wind velocity. So the migration of soil particle from one place to another place is called soil erosion. So to prevent the soil erosion, you have to maintain the soil conservation methods. The first soil conservation method is plant trees. So by planting of trees, we can prevent the soil erosion. How it is possible? Very simple, children. This is a plant body. Along with elongation of the stem, the root also elongated into the soil. The root produce primary roots followed by secondary roots and root hairs, like that. The soil particles bind with the roots of the plant. So the roots hold the soil particle, prevents the migration of soil from one place to the another place. So the planting is very, very important. Today unfortunately decreasing of forest percentage, the soil erosion also taken place. So try to plant a tree. Next one, no tilling farming. See children, so no tilling farming means without tillage, without using any agriculture traditional or modern tool in the agriculture sector, just growing of plants in a specific rows is called no till farming. Here no tillage. No tillage means without disturbance of soil layers. Once again, without disturbing of soil layers, cultivation of crops is called no till farming. It means, it is very simple. Generally in agriculture sector, this is agriculture field. Before rainfall, most of the farmers prepare the soil with a series of rows ready to the cultivation of plants. This is a traditional method. In this method, by tilling process, the soil fertility decreases and decreasing of microorganism number. Instead of this method, just plant the tree with help of drilling devices. So this is called no till formation. It will prevent the soil erosion. It will prevent the soil erosion. Second one, contour fluffing. It means very simple. It is widely used in Assam, Meghalaya slope soils. It means very simple. You can see here. So this is a very common agriculture practice. For example, this is a agriculture land. For example, this is agriculture land. The slope curve towards this side. If a farmer prepare the soil for crop, these rows which parallel to the sloping area or along the sloping area, what will happen? With help of rainfall or floods, the soil migrate from hill area to the sloping area. So this will what happens here? In decreasing of soil fertility. In contour fluffing, very simple. For example, this is a soil. Here the preparation of soil or preparation of rows like this, which are perpendicular to the sloping area. So these ridges prevent the soil migration or soil erosion. So this is a very effective method to prevent the soil erosion. This is called contour fluffing. Next you can see here, see children, this is a terraces. It is used in hill area. It means preparation of a soil agriculture sector, stepped appearance. Stepped appearance means here forming of ridges and water channels, all are appeared as a stepped appearance. So this kind of arrangement of the hill area for suitable for cultivation of crop is called terraces. So just now you can see here, this is a plant trees, first method. Second one, no till farming. Fourth one, contour fluffing and terraces. These are effective methods for prevention of soil erosion. Next one, forest. Another natural resource of environment is forest. So forest is a community of different species like herb, shrubs and trees. Along with the trees, we can also see the different type of animals. 80% of animals habitat in a forest. So forest is a home of different type of animals. Forest maintain the climate temperature, keep the surrounding clean, keep the surrounding without carbon dioxide. So the plants fix the carbon dioxide and releasing of oxygen by process of photosynthesis. So the plants fix the carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. The carbon dioxide fixed in the form of glucose. The glucose nothing but here food, Again the glucose convert into another organic matter, formation of trunk like wood. So wood nothing but a carbonous compound, food also carbonous compound. So the plants fix a carbon dioxide and store in the form of glucose or food or wood. So that plants are reserve bank of carbons. What we call plants are reserve bank of carbon, reduce the carbon dioxide concentration and increase the oxygen concentration. See children, plants do not have lungs, but plants are lungs of all biological system because it produce oxygen. One example I will give. One matured plant, for example, this is a matured plant. It produce enough oxygen for one person 1 year. For example, this is another. I will one more example. An acre plant absorb carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is equivalent to a average car on a long drive, about 26,000 miles. So a car on driving produce carbon dioxide that is fixed by 1 acre plant and release oxygen enough to the 18 people per year. So this is a contribution of forest. So forests are lungs of biological system. So here a forest is a community of trees, shrubs, herbs and animals. Forest provide habitat for wildlife, controls soil erosion, causing rain and keep surroundings clean. See here, we can protect the soil forest by reforestation, replanting, afforestation, sowing of seeds and planting, proper utilization of forest, control forest fires, and to raise the awareness on forest conservation. Every year we celebrated World Forest Day on 21st March. This year the theme of Forest Day is biodiversity. Biodiversity. See children, next one, biodiversity. What is mean by biodiversity? Which means very simple. You can see the picture. You can see the picture here. So this is it considered as a earth. So biodiversity means total number of plants and animals in a particular place or a geographical area. See here, this is a earth. Here we can see the different type of plants and animals. The total number of plant and animal species, once again I repeat, total number of plant and animal species in a particular area or particular geographical location is called biodiversity. Biodiversity. It means bio means living organism, diversity means differences. Different type of organism which are live in a particular geographical area called biodiversity. So biodiversity can be divided into 3 types. Number 1, ecosystem diversity. Number 2, species diversity, and next one genetic diversity. Very simple. What is ecosystem? For example, this is our planet Earth. Here large ecosystem is marine ecosystem. Then followed by grasslands, then forest, next one desert, next one freshwater ecosystem. It means what? Ecosystem diversity means the different ecosystems present on earth is called ecosystem diversity. There are different type of ecosystem. The marine is different from grassland different from the forest different from the desert, and fresh water different from the desert water, this desert system. So the differences of different ecosystem on earth is called ecosystem diversity. And grasslands also again 4 types. Number 1, savannas, we can see in Africa. Number 2, steppes, we can see in Eurasia. Number 3, pampas in Argentina. Number 4, prairies. So in the grassland also there is a diversity: savannas, steppes, pampas and prairies. Prairies North America, pampas Argentina, steppes Eurasia, savanna Africa. So within the grassland we can see the diversity. So different type of ecosystem on earth called ecosystem diversity. Next one, species diversity. We can see here, I will give an example. So this is light pink color, this is pink in color, this is white in color, red in color, this is another plant, another flower, violet flowers, white and yellow and yellow. You can see here species diversity means this is one species, this is also one species. Each and every plant now is a species. So in a particular area, number of species is called species diversity. Once again repeat, in a particular area, number of species is called species diversity. I will give an example. This is a particular area, so this point represent Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, 1000 pigeons and the number of humans 1 lakh. Next one, 50 frogs for example, 10 snakes, and next one 200 neem plants, like that. In a particular area, number of species is called species diversity. How many species here? 1. The 100, the 1000 pigeon consider as one species. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in a particular area, how many species? 5. So 5 means here the area having 5 species. The 5 species is called species diversity. The number of species in a particular area is called species richness. What we call species richness. How much here? 6. So in a particular, the ecosystem means differences in ecosystem. Species diversity means in a particular area different species. By increasing a boundary, the species number will increase or decreases? Increases. Definitely the area will increases, the number of species diversity also increases. The next last one, genetic diversity, which means very simple. You can see here, this is a flower of Nerium ganneru. This is another Nerium, light pink in color. This is white. 3 flower belongs to the Nerium. So Nerium again, Nerium is a species, but is divided into 3 individuals. So within the Nerium plant, there are different characters. So number of character present in each species is called genetic diversity. Once again repeat, the same plant Nerium having different characters. The different number of character present in a single species is called genetic diversity. Very simple. In our India, 1.3 billion population. All are similar, all having same size and shape of the nose, same ear lobes, same retina, same length, same weight, same facial style, same height. No, this is called diversity. So each individual dissimilar, different from the another individual. Of course, 1.3 billion people consider as a one species, but having different characters. So number of character present in a single species is called genetic diversity. You can see here last one, endemic species. You can see a tiger, white tiger and peacock. Endemic species means plants or animals, plants or animals which restricted to the particular area, not all places. Those species are called endemic species. So white tiger, peacock located live in particular area. These restricted species are called endemic species. Next you can see here endangered species. This picture indicates the Nepenthes. The Nepenthes is insectivorous plant. It grow in nitrogen lack of soil. This is lion. So these are endangered. What is the difference between endemic and endangered? Endemic means a species live in only restricted place. The distribution is only permitted to the particular place. That is called endemic. Endangered means the species might disappear in coming future. They are in risk. Those species are called endangered species. So here you can see the Red Data book. The Red Data book published by IUWC, which means International Union for Wildlife Conservation. International Union for Wildlife Conservation published a book in the name of Red Data containing information about endangered species. Endangered species. Very simple. A species going to disappear is called endangered species. Best example here Nepenthes and lion. So here the information, the book providing information about the endangered species is called Red Data book, published by IUWC, International Union for Wildlife Conservation. Once again, International Union for Wildlife Conservation. You can see here project work. Several years ago, water filters were not in use. Once again, several years ago, water filters were not in use, but the waterway was safe for drinking. Why? Find out from your parents and prepare a write-up. Write a project on different types of soils. Write a project on different types of soils in Telangana state. Make a list of crops growing in those soil. Next, save the natural resources, they will save us. Very simple. There were no air, water, forest, earth, we cannot survive. The earth and its natural resources nurture the total biological system. You should protect the natural resources and earth, otherwise total biological system will be in risk. A single movement in the environment, a single movement of human on environment can make a big difference. So save the earth, save the life. Save the natural resources, they will save us. Save the earth, save the life. Thank you very much.